Hello, I'm down here on South Broad Street in front of this nice brick building. If you've been around Monroe a little while, you might know this building was the home of Monroe Country Day School for several years. If you've been here longer than that, you might know that this building was originally Johnson Institute or Johnston Institute. But why does Monroe have an institute? And who was Johnson or Johnston? Well, these questions are interesting, and I can answer them for you. So if you'll stay with me, we'll have a good time talking about it.
The story, as Anita Sams tells it in Wayfarers in Walton, goes like this. One outstanding early benefactor of education in Walton County was Rhode Island-born Nehemiah Johnson. Coming to Monroe in the 1820s, he began earning his living as a painter. Thrifty and ambitious, he later became a merchant, and in 1836 bought Elijah Bett's combination residence and store, which stood near the northwest corner of present-day Washington Street and South Broad. In 1841, Johnson was commissioned as a justice of the inferior court. Known to Monroe's children as Yankee Johnson, the hard-working storekeeper with gold-rimmed glasses and a gold pocket watch was a familiar figure in Monroe until ill health brought about his retirement shortly before the Civil War. As his health worsened in 1863, he made his will. The unmarried Mr. Johnson's only relatives lived in the North, and as a citizen of the Confederate States, he could not bequeath his property to them. So he stipulated that part of his estate be used to educate the indigent children of Walton County. A few weeks later, probably in May of 1863, Nehemiah Johnson died. The war had dealt Walton schools a severe blow. Legislative action was approved in December of 1863, declaring Walton's original school charter valid and operative. The new legislation further declared that since no distinctive name was given by the charter, the school would hereafter be known as Johnson Academy. Local usage almost immediately changed this to Johnson Institute, and over the years a T crept in, altering the way Nehemiah himself spelled his last name. In January 1864, Nehemiah Johnson's executor paid $6,000 to Walton school officials, and Johnson Institute opened its doors with Gustavus Alonzo Nunley, later become widely known in Georgia's educational fields as its first principal. Nunley would hold this position for 8 years. We cannot say for sure where the first Johnson Institute was located. We do know that by the 1880s the school was located here on land given to the school by Elijah Betts. Betts had also given the town 50 acres of land, which today is downtown Monroe. In 1887, Henry McDaniel had completed his term as governor and returned to Monroe to live and practice law. After the Civil War, before going to Atlanta as governor, McDaniel lived in this house, which stood where Pinnacle Bank is today. Desiring to build a better residence, McDaniel made the Board of Education an offer for the property where Johnson Institute stood. He offered $350 and 2 acres of land just north of where the school was, near the city spring. This offer was accepted, and this new school was built here. Professor Andrew Burris led the school for over a decade. Enrollment increased, and 2 more rooms were added. There were many famous graduates of Johnson Institute during this period when its classes went from the first grade through graduation. 2 of the most famous graduates were Mary Creswell, who went on to become the first female graduate of the University of Georgia, and then became the university's first female dean. Another would be Governor Clifford Walker, shown here enjoying a cigar while the class picture was being made. I think he gave up tobacco shortly after this. Grand festivities were planned for the graduation of 1900, as shown in these programs, and indeed they seem to have taken place, but not at the school. About 10 a.m. on May the 18th, the school and all its contents were destroyed by fire. School was not in session and there were no injuries. After the fire, the city leaders immediately started construction of a new school on Church Street, which would open within a year. By 1906, Johnson Institute was back in business, so to speak, and was located on Mears Street, just behind the brick building completed in 1927, which served as a home to Johnson Institute for around a half a century. We will have additional posts this week with pictures of Johnson Institute classes, teachers, and programs. Please take a look and tell us your stories.